amongst the top Ayurvedic physicians in the Middle East. He was honored with Distinguished Physician Award UAE in 2017 and the Leader in Healthcare Award UAE in 2018. Sir is the first Ayurveda practitioner licensed by the Ministry of Health UAE in 2002. Sir is the member of International Expert Consultation Meeting 2019 for setting World Health Organization benchmarks in Ayurveda practice worldwide. Dr. Shyam sir has treated 50,000 patients, helped set up Ayurveda brands in over 20 plus countries, and is also the faculty at Southern California University, University of Health Science, USA. Dr. Shyam sir consults in UAE and is the medical director of Dr. Shyam Ayurveda Center. Now I will request sir to please come forward and start his session.
My tributes to the Bruhattrayeeratna, late Vaidya Vilas Nanal, on the 8th death anniversary. Vaidya Ashutosh, Vaidya Ayesha, and you have selected, an ideal topic for this conference. That is the practical approach to Samhitas in understanding various clinical challenges. This topic, the concept of Kleda and its significance in the different clinical conditions. This topic was suggested by Vaidya Ashutosh. I happily took the topic because, I have seen the term Kleda, across the Samhitas in several contexts. But unfortunately, once I started preparing my presentation, I realized that, there is hardly any definition about Kleda or any detailed, explanation about the terminology Kleda. So I was fortunate to find, some articles written by Dr. Prasad and a few other articles also, which has helped me to make this presentation. I would like to introduce or make you familiar with a figure of speech named oxymoron. Oxymoron. Oxymoron, it is a combination of contradictory and opposing words. Shakespeare, in his dramas, he used, several of such contradictory expressions, like in Romeo and Juliet, or loving hate, or parting is such a sweet sorrow. You might think, what Shakespeare has to do in the concept of Kleda. Actually, our Acharyas, they use, much more oxymorons, in our Granthas. Say, like, you take Vatapitta Kapha. Shariram agaram iva stunatrayena sthitighridam. So, therefore, it is called stuna. Malinigaranat malaha. Dharana thadavaha. Dushana sabhava doshayidi. See, again, contradictory expressions. If I try to create an oxymoron for Kleda, I would like to call it, Kleda, you are a life-saving slayer. You preserve the health, at the same time, you perish health and life. I check my blood sugar level sometimes in January, February this year. It was hitting around 125, 130 fasting blood sugar. According to the modern medicine understanding, it is pre-diabetic. And I made a self-diagnosis, Kleda vritti, Kapha vritti, increase of Bahu Abatha Meda, increase of Bahu Drava Sleshma, and I made it as an opportunity to use, an ever-tempting rasayana, the Shilajadu rasayana. But by the time, I ordered it from Chalakudi, and by the time, I got it, it was already summer. Nevertheless, I paid the money, I thought, let's have it. So I did a virejana with Avipatti Churnam, a Ruksha virejana, and started taking, Gomutra Shilajadu with the Anupanam of Punarnavadi Kashaya. Within, a week or two, my sugar level I checked, it was reaching 100 to 110. I was so happy. But at the same time, I was feeling, extremely dry in the body. I was feeling, extremely tired. I was wondering, why is it happening? See, I live in Dubai. It's a Jangala Desha. Jangala Desha is Vata Pitta Bahulaha, Stira Kathina Manusha Prayogatnyaha. See, the temperature there, it is hitting around 50 degrees centigrade right now. Several times, I feel Vagbhada has, written the Grishma Rudracharya just for the people, living in Dubai. Tishnamshu Adidishnamshu. Grishme Samshipadiyavar. Pratyaham Shiyade Sleshma Tena Vayuscha Varthade. Ado Asmin Padu Kadu Amla Vyayama Arkagarantijet. Bhajet Mathuram Evanam Lekusniktam Himamdrava. See, Grishma Rudu, it is a time to have Bhajet Mathuram Evanam Himam Sniktham Lekhu Dravam. So, it is not the time to take, a Shilajudu Rasayanam, which is Shilahwam Kadudishnoshnam Kadubagam Rasayanam Chedi Yogavaham. See, our Acharyas, they know that Divaswapnam increases Kapha and Pitta. Sniktham Praswapnam Diva. Still, knowing that, it increases Pitta and Kapha, Acharya has suggested to do Divaswapnam during the summer time. So, probably, this Andi Ruksha Ahara Viharas and the Divaswapnam which is mentioned in the Grishma Rudracharya could be to balance, the reduced Kleda or the reduced Kapha in the body. But things are totally different, in the previous Ridu, which is the Vasanta Ridu. It says, Tishnair Vamana Nasyadyehi Lekhu Rushaisya Pojanehi Vyayama Udvartana Akadayar Jidwa. It continues, and Amla and Mathura Rasas has to be reduced. Guru and Snikta Aharas has to be reduced in the Vasanta Ridu. Look at the irony. Irony of, the seasonal regimen. This is the dynamicity and the beauty of Ayurveda. See, Vata Pitta Kapha, they are paradoxically forces which will balance the health when they are balanced, and it will disturb the physiology and lead to pathology when they are disturbed. See, Ayurveda, everything is good, everything is bad. Dosha is bad, dosha is good. Kleda is bad, Kleda is good. So that's why I was telling, Kleda preserves and perish. See, the word Kleda, it originates from the root klid, which means to make damp, wet, or humid. So, Kleda is something which will bring wetness or dampness to the human body. Kleda is ardratvam. It is dravarupa. Kleda is an apyabhava padartha. Apaha kledayanti. Kleda gunas are not mentioned in the Samhitas. Assuming that, it is an apyabhava padartha, the gunas of the apya dravya can be attributed for the Kleda. Like Guru, Shida, Sara, Sniktha, Mrudu, Drava. And the opposite qualities, let's have a look at it. Guru, Lekhu, Shidam, Ushnam, Saram, Sthiram, Sniktham, Ruksham, Mrudu, Katinam, Dravam, Sandram. So, all these qualities of the Kleda in permutation combinations is responsible for the various physiological and pathological effects in the body. So, therefore, in this presentation, let's try to explore this topic in 3 headings. Prakrita Kleda, or the physiological importance of Kleda. Vaikrita Kleda, or the pathological importance of Kleda. And the Kleda Chikitsa, that is the therapeutic importance. The terminology, Udaka, it represents, the water or the aqueous element in the body. So Ayurveda used this term to represent the water component in the body, in the both compartments, the extracellular or the intracellular compartments. The measurement is mentioned as 10 Anjali. Svena Anjali Pramanaha. Kleda, it's a representation of the Jala Mahabhuta in the body, which is responsible for the softening and the loosening of the solid materials because of its qualities like the Drava, Sniktha, Mrudu, and Pichila gunas. Kleda and Udaga might be synonymously used, but Kleda is not Udaga, but with some difference. Kleda, it might not be a Dravya. It may be a collection of guna only. So this Udaga, when it performs a specific function of Kledana, it is known as Kleda. When the Udaga, when it is performing a specific function of Kleda, that is moisturizing, wetting, so it is known as Kleda. So Kleda is the transitional part of Udaga, which moisturizes the body. So Kleda is the moisture required to replenish and nourish the dhadus. Udagavaha srodasas are mentioned, Rasavaha srodasas are mentioned, but there is no srodas mentioned for Kleda. So the same srodas, Udagavaha or Rasavaha srodas, may be considered as the srodas for Kleda as well. Look at another aspect of the physiological importance. Kleda as Sneha. Yatha mritpindo adhihi praklidyade tatha mashadugdha prabhrdibhir vrinaha praklidyadaidi. So that means, how, a sandstone is getting moisturized by the water. The same way, Masha Dugdha brings in Kleda to the vrina. So this property is because of this Niktada of the Masham and Dugdha. So Sniktha is something which will make the things wet. So Kleda can be a representation of Sneha Bhava or the Sniktada also. And Sneha, it is also a property of Jalabhuda. That way also, Kleda is related to the Jalabhuda. So the different forms of Kledas are mentioned, like Ambu, Udaga, Lasiga, Mutra, Sweda, Vasa, etc. They represent the Kleda. Sneha Saro Ayam Purushaha, it is a celebrated quote in Ayurveda. So the essence of the human body is Sneha. Rasam is Sniktham, Rektam is Sniktham, except Asti, all the Dhadus are Sniktham in nature. Malas are also Sniktham in nature. Sneha causes the Kledana. So Kleda can be considered as a representative of this Sneha Bhava. We know this definition, dosha dhadu malamulohi deha. But there is no shape, there is no form for dosha. We have to perceive the dosha because of its guna, the qualities. The dosha enable their function in the dhadu. Vada resides in Asti, Pitta in Rekta, and Kapha resides in the other dhadus. So, since the dosha has no shape and form, the structural body can be defined as it is made up of the dhadu, upadhadu, and the malas. And we know that the dhadu exists in two forms, the poshya aspect and the poshaka aspect. So the poshya aspect of an individual, it is completely formed after the aparipakva dhadu stage or after the vivrithamana dhadu stage, as in a vada prakriti by 25 years. But at the same time, we know that shiryade anena idi sharira. So the poshya dhadus are also undergoing destruction. That is sharira. But chiyade anadibhihi idi kayaha. So our body is made up of the food what you eat. So the poshaka aspect, it is derived from the food, which is responsible for the replenishing of the poshya dhadu, which is being destructed over the time. Annam kale bhyavihadam, koshtam prana anilahridam, dravair vibhinna sanghadam, needam snehena mardavam, santushita samanena, pajatyamashya stidam, Audariyo Agni Yatha Bahya Stalistam Toyatandula. How, the fire is cooking the rice mixed with water. The same way, the food is being processed by the Pachaka Pittam, the Samana Vadam, and the Kledaka Kapha. And it has two parts, Saram, Kittascha, Pakvamannam. So the Poshaka Rasatadu, it forms which top up the subsequent Poshithadus, which we have explored previously. Annasya, Acham Kittam, Mutra. So the Drava Bhaga of the Kitta form the Mutra, and the Khanam Shagrat, Khana Bhaga forms the Shagrat. So this Mala, after the formation and before the elimination, and the Malas has to be eliminated. So in between this time, the Mala is also doing several physiology, several functions in the body. And this Mala also has a Kledamsha. So look at the pool of Sneha, Kleda in the body. When we try to analyze, further deeper about our human body, we can see that the Prithvi Mahabhuta is responsible for the Samhanana Karya. Ap Mahabhuta is responsible for the Kledana Karya. Agni Mahabhuta, Pajana Karya. Vayu, Vibhajana, and Akasha, the Vivarthana Karya. So there is a pool of Sneha which exists in the body from birth to death. If you want to define it as Udaga, maybe 10 Anjali. So the Udagam, Ambu, they are indicative of the Sneha Bhava. And the Avalambaka Kapha, which is the core of the Udaga Karma, or watering, which is seated in the chest region. So far, what I have explained, it can be briefed into these 3 points. Kleda, it is the Snehamsha present in the Thadu, in the Poshaka, Poshya, Mala, Ahara Rasa, and the Rasa Thadu. It is responsible for the replenishment of the Snehamsha. It is responsible for the replenishment of the Kleda. So Kleda, it is a part of Udaga that does the Kledana of the Thadu and the Malas. Look at Kleda and the Tridosha. Kleda, being an Apya Bhava Padartha, it is more related to Kapha. Amba Prithupyam Sleshmaha. And I mentioned Avalambaka is the controller and the regulator of all the Kapha subtypes seated in the chest region, and which is responsible for the watering of the other Kapha subtypes. And Kledaka Kapha do the Kleda Karma of the Anna. So Anna Kledanam and Ambu Karma is dependent on the Prakrita Kleda. So Prakrita Kleda, it is directly related to the Kapha dosha. But in case of pathology, Pitta also plays a significant role. Vadavritti, it results in Kleda Shosha. See, in Pitta also, in the Kopa Lakshanas, it is mentioned Daha, Ushma, Paga, Sweda, Kleda, Kotha, Sravaragaha. See, like Kleda is coming there. Vadavritti, it generally results in Kleda Shosha, and Kleda Shosha results in Vadavritti. However, not likely always. Sometimes, there is a possibility of Kleda Dushti, as in Vadika Prameham. See, this is something, which I see in while I'm practicing in Dubai. We have a lot of people, work there from Kerala and Maharashtra. So they might have been, taking Malabar Parota and, chicken every day, but they were all healthy. But after reaching Dubai, they start, precipitating as Prameham or as diabetes. See, about the samprapti of the pathology, there are 2 ways, it develops. Either, the Kapha Prameham developing as Pitta Prameham and then to Vadika Prameham due to the Shithalada of the Thadus. On the other side, it says, Tathavida Sharirasya. That is, when the Bahu Abattha Medas are present in the body, if you are indulging in Kashaya Kadutikta Aharas, and the Vata Pragopa Karanas, Tathavida Sharirasya, Shipram, Vadam Pragopama Padyade. So there are 2 possibilities, when the Vada manifests in the Kleda. Either the Kleda Shosham or the Vada Kopida Kleda. So I need to say that Kapha, Pitta, and Vata, they play their own roles in regulating the Kleda. Look at another aspect. Prakrita Kleda and the Ahara Parinama. Ushma Pajati, Vayu Apakarshayati, Kleda Shaithilya Vadayati. Dravayir Vipinna Sankhadam. So, Kledaka Kapha, Pachaka Pitta, and the Samana Vata, they digest the food. So, Prakrita Kleda, it plays a vital role in the process of Ahara Pajanam also. Kleda, it is present in the Dhadus, in the Dhatvashya, in the Upadhadu, in the Malas. Kleda is also present in the skin, also in the Bahya Srodasas. Srodamsi, Nasike, Karnau, Netre, Payuasya Mehanam, in all these Srodasas, Kleda is there. Sweda holds the Kleda over the skin and makes it sniktha. So we can conclude that Kledam is Sarva Sharira Vyapi, especially seen in the Uras, in the Rasavaha Srodas, in the Annavaha Srodas, and in the Udagavaha Srodas. Hope you know Kleda is not affecting your Manovaha Srodas. Kleda and water intake, look at another aspect. So I mentioned, Kleda is generated from the Jala Mahabhuta in the body. So it is important to replenish water for the maintenance of Kleda as well. That's why Ayurvedam says, Paniyam praninam pranaha vishwameva jadanmayam nahi toyad vinavratihi swastasya vyathitasya va. But however, except for the Sharad Ritu, that is the autumn season, and for the Nidaka, that is the summer time, even the healthy should drink less water in the other seasons. Vaidya says, Adiyogena salilam trishyado aviprayoktavyam prayadi sleshma pittatva. Water is becoming, pittam and kapha. That's what he says. That means, the over intake of water is increasing pittam and kapha. So the excess quantity of water, it increases the kapha and pitta, and subsequently it results in the Kleda Vritti. Another aspect of Prakrita Kleda and Kala. See, you can see, multiple contexts, where you can see the terminology Kleda. Kala, it is a separator between the Dhadus and the Ashiyas. The Kala, which resides in the Dhatvashya, that is also a derivative of this Kleda. So Kleda get assimilated and make a layer between the Dhadus and the Dhatvashya. Let me move on to the second part of my presentation. That is the Vaikrita Kleda, or the Kleda in the pathology. So we studied that Kleda signifies the internal body moisture, that is the Udaga or the Sneha required for the proper functioning of the Dhadus. While the same Kleda can serve as the Dushya in the pathology of various diseases. Where the Kleda, it results in diseases like Kushtam, Prameham, Pedaga, Visarpam, Galagandam, etc. So the word Kleda, it is also used to represent the secretion or the oozing from a wound or from a skin lesion, as in conditions like Kushta. And excess of Kleda, it can suppress the Agni, it can obstruct the Srodasas, leading to different pathologies. So let me repeat from the previous slide. Kleda is mentioned as a Dushya. Kleda provides Ardrata. Kleda Abhave Shoshada. So Vadavritti result in Kleda Shosha. And I mentioned previously, Kleda Dushti is also possible when the Vada as in Vadika Prameha. Kleda Shosha results in Vadavritti. Vadavritti results in Kleda Shosha otherwise. Kleda Vritti can happen because of Pitta and Kapha. Rekta Kledam and Mamsa Kledam, they are mentioned as two among the 40 Paitika Nanatmaja Vigaras. Rasa Rekta Mamsa Kledas are seen in skin diseases. Rasa Kleda is seen in conditions like Pandu, where the excess of Kleda, it fails to replenish the next Dhadu Rekta. Look at the Vigrada Kleda Hedu. Hope you're with me. Vikrita Kleda. See, the same, universal principle of Ayurveda applies here. Vritti samanehi sarvesham viparider vipariyaha. Sarvada sarvabhavanam samanyam vritikaranam hrasahedur visheshascha. So, the same guna of the Kleda, it can bring in increase of the Kleda. That is the Sniktha guna, Apyadravya, Visha and Shara, Amlarasam, Amlo, Anilada Bharanam, Anulomanam, Koshtavidahi, Rektapittakrat, Ushnavirya. So, Lavana, it is Kledana in nature. Lavanaha Kledana, Amlaha Kledana. Madhura Rasam, it might not be increasing Kleda in the normal stage. But however, when you see, Evam Guno Abhi, when it is overused, it results in Staulya, Agni Sadhana, Gauravam, Alasagam, Adinidra, Chwasa Prameha Galaroga Visapnyadasya, Madhurya Lojana Galarbuda Kandamala, Chardi, Udarda, Murtharu, Kasavena Sakramin, Sleepada Jorodara, Stevanani Chavahe. So when you're looking, all these diseases, you can see a presence of Kleda there as well. So when I'm talking about rasa, it will be interesting to note, the rasas which will reduce Kleda. That is Tikta, Kadu and Kashaya Rasam. They are Kleda Shoshanam in nature. Abhishyanti Aharam and Anupa Mamsa. Anupadesham, it is a Kapha dominated place. So the creatures which lives in the Anupadesha, they are Maha Abhishyanti in nature. Malsya, Snikthascha Vrishyascha, Bahudosha Pragirtida, Tadvacha Kukudo Vrishyaha, Gramyastu Sleshmalo Guru. See the possibility of increase of Kleda because of our over intake of Malsya and chicken. Virutha Ahara, Avyayama is another cause. We know that Vyayamo Dardhyagaranam Sreshtam. And we know that Lakhavam Karma Samarthyam. Deepto Aknir Meda Sahashayam, Vipakta Kanagatratvam, Vyayamadu Vajayade. So, Avyayamam can result in Guruguna Vritti and Medo Vritti and Kleda Vritti. Diva Sopnam, Sniktham Praswapnam Diva, Atyambu Vanam. There are some, Vishishta Kleda Hedus are also mentioned, like Parishida Jalam, Shuktam, etc. See, I mentioned that the Kleda Dushti can happen because of Kapham and Pitta. Kleda is considered as a Dushya. So in a disease pathology, the dosha has to manifest in a Dushya to produce a disease. Now here are different possibilities. Kapham in Kledam, Pittam in Kledam, and Vadam in Kledam, like in Vadika Prameham. Here I'm putting, only the Kapham and the Paitikam. So it will be interesting to note the difference between the Usha Guna and the Kleda Guna. For example, you take the Shida Kleda, which is due to Kapadushida Kleda. For easiness of understanding, I'm using that terminology. And Paitika Kleda, Pitta Dushida Kleda, let me call it Ushna Kleda, which is Abhishyanti. So in the case of Shida Kleda, Kapham is Sandram and Stiram, while Kledam is Dravam and Saram. While in the case of Prameha, the Kapha is losing its Swarupa. See, look at the Hedus, the different Hedus which can bring in Shida Kledam and Abhishyanti. And the Viharas are also mentioned. You can see that, there are few Nidanas which can produce Shida Kledam and Ushna Kledam simultaneously, like Dati or Divaswapna. Look at Kledam and Abhishyanti. We know that Paishilyat Gaurava Dravyam Rutva Rasavahasira Tatteyat Gauravam Tat Abhishyanti Yathadati. The substance, by virtue of its sticky and heavy properties, will block the Rasavasrodas, leading to the Gauravam of the body. Abhishyanti Doshathadu Malasrodasam. Kleda Prapti Janaka. Abhishinta brings in the Klinnada to the dosha, Thadu, Mala, and Srotas. See, Look at, the Ardrikaranam, it is by Kleda. Kledanam, Kledaha. While Dravigaranam, it is because of the Abhishyandi Guna. Or Sravanam, it is again Abhishyandi Guna is coming. Or Malinigaranam also, Abhishyandi Guna is coming. There are two types of Abhishyandas mentioned there. One is Alpabhishyandi and Mahabhishyandi. Dosha Thadu Srodasam, Adisya Kleda Prapti Janagam, Mahabhishyandi. Look at, there are several diseases where you can see Kleda. From Alasa, which is mentioned in the Shudra Roga, Dushtagardama Samsvarshat, Kandu Kleda Nyudandara, Angushto Alasamityahu, and Rasakledam are seen in Pandu. Sirakledam, it delays the Vrinaropanam. Snayu Kledam, it's responsible for the Asathyada of the Vrinam. In Kushtam, Vidrathi, Prameham, Krimi, Visarpam, Shobham, Bhagandaram, Sleepadam, Shwitram, Gandamala, so many diseases you can see the presence of pathological Kleda. Kleda Nirharanam. See, Kleda is seen in a small vrana where only a local presence of Kleda is there. Kleda can be present in a most complicated Prameha pathology. In both contexts, Kleda Nirharanam is very important. Anakleda Nirvahanena Mutra. Kleda is eliminated through the Mutra. So Mutra Pariksha gives a clear picture of the Kleda in the body. The maintenance of the Kleda, Tok Sneha, Roma Dharanam, they are also functions of they are the functions of Sweda. So Kleda, Sweda and Mutra, you can say that they're all mutually dependent. Kleda in Vrina, 40 diseases of Pitta, Rekta Kledam and Mamsa Kledam is mentioned. Tukmamsa Snayu Sangledo, Rekta Kledam Hijayade. I think I'm also getting Kleda in my thoughts. So Kleda is dominated by when it is in a Kleda dominated body or in a weather condition where Klinnada is there. Say for example, a Ridu where Klinnada is coming. We studied it in the Vishaprakarana. Vashasu Ambayunitwan. Some Kledam Gulavad Gadam. So that is considered as the reason of the increase of Visha in the Vasha Ridu. So Sneha Swedam is contraindicated in Vrina because it increases Kleda. So the therapeutics of Vrina Ropana must adhere to the principles of decreasing Kleda. Masham, Dugdam, we studied that it increased the Kleda. So healing ulcer is devoid of Kleda. So all measures should be taken to reduce the Kleda for Vrina Ropana. Look at the most important, Kleda and the pathogenesis of Prameha. You already know it. Prameha is the Kleda Pradhana Vyati. Bahudrava Sleshma Vishesha. That is a dosha Vishesha in the Madhumeha. And Bahu Abhathamedam and Shariraja Kledam. It is the Dushya Vishesha. And Swedanam is contraindicated because it produces Medo Vilayanam. It increases Dravadam of the Kapha, resulting in Mutra Adipravarti. And Swedanam can also result in Prameha Pidaga. Anuvasanam is contraindicated in Prameham because it increases the Klinnada. Astavanam with Surasadiganam, Aragudadiganam, Vatsagadi, Negrodhadi, they are useful in Kleda Shoshanam. Mutrasya Kleda Vahanam, Swedasya Kleda Vidrudi. So the Kleda, it moves to the urinary system and will increase the production of the urine. So in this stage, the Purvarupas will be seen like Upadeham, Karabadadaham, Madhuryamasya, so Prapuda Mutrada, Daurgandhyam. So all these are symptoms of increased Kleda. So if not treated at the stage, the Kleda spreads to the deeper tissues. It affects the other dhadus and result in the dhadu shaithilya. So remember that the dravada or the klinnada of the sleshma is important for the samprapti of prameha. So dravaguna vritti, it is happening in conditions like kushtam also. In pidakam also kleda is there. While in the prameha it is being carried out through the vasti. The same kleda, when it spreads throughout the body, it brings in shaithilya. and also vitiate the Medo Dhatu. So the vitiated Kleda and the Medo Dhatu are responsible for the increased Klinada in the Mamsa Dhatu, which is responsible for the genesis of Prameha Pidaga. Kleda Vritti in Sandarpanotha Vigara. We know how to do the Sandarpana. Mamsa Shira Siddha Sarpar Madhura Snikta Vastebhihi Sopna Shriya Sukham Abhyangam Snana Nirvrati Harshanaihi. But however, too much of Brahmana, too much of Sandarpana can result in several diseases like Adhistaulyam, Abajimeha, Jorodara Bhagandhara. So, in all these Kasa Sannyasa, Krachrama, Kushtadina Didaruna. So, in all these diseases, you can see a Kleda Vritti. And Nidanam of Staulyam also, please remember, Avyayamat, Divasopnat, Sleshmala Ahara Sevanat. So, therefore, who consume or indulge in Avyayamam, Divasopnam, Swadamla Lavana, Snikta Gurvapishyanti Shidalaihi. So, for all those people, the diseases due to Adi Brahmana can happen and Staulyam can happen. So, we can say that the Medas, Kapham and Shida Kledam, they are interconnected. Increase of Medas result in increased Kapha. Increase in Kapha results in Medo Vritti and increased Klinada also. See, there are several similarities between the Chikilsa Siddhantam of Kushtam and Prameham. The similarities are not only in terms of the Chikilsa Siddhantam. There are several similarities in terms of the Nidanam and the Samprapti. We know that the Navannam, Dathi, Malsyam, Adilavanam, Masham, Moolakam, Pishtanam, Tilam, these are all mentioned as the Nidanas of Kushta. And this Nidana Sevanas, it causes Tridosha Gopa, which gives rise to Shaithilyam in the Dhadus. Prabhadya Dhadun Vyapyanta Sarvan Samkledya Cha Avhet Sasveda Kleda Samkothan Krimin Sushman Sudarunan. So the Shaithilyam in the form of Kleda gets Thana Samsrayam in all these tissues, in all these Dhadus, and the Klinada, it attracts the Krimi and results in Lomatwak Snayu Thamani, Tarunasthini, Bhashayed. The third part of the presentation, the therapeutics of Kleda. Actually, there is no specific Kleda Chikilsa which is mentioned in the Samhitas. However, Sneha Vyapat Chikilsa could be adopted as the Kleda Chikilsa. We studied the Gunam of the Sneha Dravyam as Guru Shida Sarasniktha Manda Sushma Mrududravam Aushatham Snehanam Prayo Vibaritam Virukshana. So the Viparita Gunas are Lakhu, Ushnam, Stira, Rusha, Tishna, Stula, Kathina, Sandra. All these gunas will bring in the Rukshada. Snehanam, Sneha Vishyantas, Mardava Kleda Karaka. So the Sneha Dravya induces oiliness, liquefaction, and smoothness and Kleda. Raushyam, Karatvam Vaishadyam, Kuryata Tirushanam. Rukshadravya induces dryness, roughness, and the coarseness. So, in terms of the Guna Chikitsa, in case of Kleda, you need to go with Ruksha Chikitsa. And Kashaya, Kadu, Tikta Rasas are successively more powerful Rukshana Rasas. And the treatment which is indicated in the Sneha Vyapat Chikitsa, Shud Trishna Ulakhe Vamanam and Swedaha, Rukshabana Napeshajam, Takrarishtam, Kalodala, Yavashyamaka Godrava, Pipali, Triphala Shaudram, Pathya, Gomutra Gugulu, Yathaswam Pradirogam cha, Sneha Vyapati Sadhana. So, all these dravyas are mentioned as the Sneha Chikitsa, which can be adopted as the Kleda Chikitsa also. And the treatment principle of Shobham and Kushta Chikitsa can be adopted for Kleda Chikitsa. And Sneha Prayogas for Kushta, would you suggest them to reduce the volume from the back screen? Sneha Prayogas are mentioned in, it says, Guda Anupa Amisha, Shira Dila Masha Suradati, Kushta Shobha Prameheshu, Snehartham, and it should not be used. But even if you want to use a Sneha Prayogam, it has to be processed with Triphala, Pippali Patya, Gulgulwadi Vivajidan. So, Gugulu has a Kleda Shamana properties. So, Kadurasam, Tikta Kashayarasam, Kadu Vibhagam, Ushna Viryam, Vada Kapashamanam, Gugulu. It has Kleda Shamana properties. It has specific action in the Medo Thadu. However, you might have seen that we start giving Kaishora Gugulu, expecting a Rukshada in a skin condition or in a Vreda conditions. And sometimes we get it backfired. We need to understand that Nava Gugulu, it is Niktham, Pichilam, Brahmanam, it might increase the Kleda. On the other side, Purana Gugulu, which is 1-year-old Gugulu, it is Lekhana, Lakhu, Ruksham, Tishnam, Vishadam, Sushmam, and Kleda Shoshanam in nature. See, there are several medicines, and some of these herbs which is used in Kushtam and Prameham like Guluchi, Chitragam, Daruharidra, Nimba, Kadira, Triphala, Manjishta, Vidanga, Musta. All these have, anti-Kleda properties. And there are several formulations also mentioned, which are commonly used in Prameham and Kushtam, like Lothrasavam, Ayaskriti, Manipadra Gulam, etc. And Aragvadadi Gana Kashayam, which is Kashaya Rasa dominant, Kapha Pitta Samanam, Aragvadadar Jayardi, Chardar Kushta Visham Juran, Kapham Kandum Pramehamcha, Dushta Prana Vishodhanaha, or Asanadi Ganam, Asanadar Jayade, Chitra Kushta Kapha Krimin, Pandurogam Pramehamcha, Medo Doshan Barhanam. And Vedangadi Gugulu is another one, which is indicated in Dushta Vranam, Apaji, Meham, Kushtam, Nadi Vishoshanam. Shilajit, we discussed it already. One of the best 4 Kleda Shoshanam, having Kadu Dikta Kashaya Rasas, Ushna Viryam, and Kadu Vibhagam. And it has Virushiniya properties, and it acts against the Bahu Abatha Medam and Kledam. So it results in the Samprapti Vikhadana at the level of Bahu Abatha Meda and the Mamsam and the Shariraja Kledam. There are common indications in several Kleda Prathana Vyatis. In Ashtanga Hridaya it says, Subhavidam Sarajalehi, Tulam Pitva Silodbhavat, Sarambuneva Punjana, Shalim Jangalajehi Rasehi, Sarvan Abhibhavan Mehan, Subahu Upadrava Then Gandamala, Arbuda Grandhi, Staulya Kushta Bhagandanan, Krimi Slebada Sopamsa. That is the indication of Shilajidu. Vastijeshu Girijam. So, it is having a Sarva Roga Shamanatvam, Visheshat, Prameha Shamanatva property. There are several medicines, Punarnava, especially effective in Rektagada Kledam and Bhumya Malagi. Gokshuram results in polyuria, but still it is indicated in Prameham for its Kledakna property. Some of my favorites, if you ask me for Kleda, Padola Kadurohinyadi Gashayam, Punarnavadi, Guluchyadi, Nimbadi, Tiktagan Gashayam, all these are having Tiktarasam, Pitta Kapashamanatvam, and the other things like Triphala Gugulu, Aragudadi Gashayam, Mathusnuhi, Viluadi Guliga, Sudarsanam, Avipati Jurnam, Gugulu Tiktagam, Gugulu Panjavala Jurnam, all this I feel they have Kleda Shamana properties. Local applications like the Shangalebam or Viluadi Guliga for external applications, Segam with Triphala Kashayam or Panjavalka Kashayam, external treatments like Udvartanam, Utkarshanam, Takrathara, they are effective. One more slide, I think. Last one. Look at the Pathya and Apathya in Kledam. Takravanam, Takram is Ruksham, while the Thi is Abhishyandi. Look at the difference. See, there is a saying, Yadi Kailase Takramasti, Neelakandaha Kim Neelakando Bhaved. So if this Takra was available at the Kailasa, Neelakantha wouldn't have become Neelakantha. So much of antitoxic properties, so much of Kleda Shamanatva properties. Yavam is another one. Prameha Chikilsa. Vasideshu Varakwathe, Charvarim Shoshideshu Akha. That means, the Yavam or the barley or the Godhuma, it can be soaked in Triphala Kashayam over the night And the next day, it can be dried and powdered and make roti or food. Aged cereals, kulatham, kodravam, godhumaha. See, godhumam is preferred, than the rice in prameha rogi, because santanagari godhumo, sthairyagratsaraha. It brings in sthirada of the dhadus. Tikta group of vegetables like pavakya, bitter gourd, padola, or the snake gourd. Jangala mamsam is another example. Fruits like jambu, dadimam, amalaki. Medicated water, especially with asanam, daru haridra, khadiram, vyayamam, it's very important. Abathyas are, some of them are mentioned here. We have discussed it already. Milk and kleda, it might be an interesting topic. We were talking, with Dr. Prasad also in the morning. So it says, payo abhishyandi gurvamam yuktam sridam adovanyatha. If it is boiled, the vidhi of, boiling milk is mentioned. Add 50% of water and reduce it to the milk portion, so which can be used. Bhaved gariyo adisridam. If it is too much concentrated, then also it becomes, very heavy. Hope you will agree with me. Kleda preserves and perishes health and life. Can we give an oxymoron for Kleda? Can we? Thank you so much.